Calaroga Shark Media.
Looks like Ron DeSantis is bowing out of the presidential race. Guess he realized the only thing he was winning was most likely to be confused for a Trump mini-me. DeSantis, after all that drama, decides he's better off in Florida, where the hurricanes are more predictable than politics. He's been pretty clear about not wanting the VP job, saying earlier, "I don't think it's a position that offers much." He crushed his election, had millions in the bank, but somehow his campaign was like a fireworks show gone wrong. All sparkle, then nothing. He delayed his race entry for Florida laws that were as popular as a skunk at a garden party. Even his big Twitter announcement turned into a tech nightmare. DeSantis has officially ended his bid for the presidency, stepping back from what initially seemed like a strong challenge to Donald Trump. DeSantis, known for his firm stance as Florida's governor, has decided to focus on completing his term, ruling out the possibility of serving as vice president for Trump or Haley. His future moves, including a potential 2028 run, remain a topic of speculation, especially given his past confrontations with Trump and Haley. Trump has criticized DeSantis for disloyalty, and tensions were evident in the clashes with Haley leading up to the Iowa caucuses. DeSantis' handling of the COVID-19 pandemic, including opposition to mandates and lockdowns, and his actions on issues like race, gender identity, and the Don't Say Gay bill against Disney, brought him into the national spotlight. His 2022 re-election victory over Charlie Crist by nearly 20 points and substantial fundraising abilities positioned him as a key figure in the GOP. However, his campaign faced challenges, including a late start to leverage Florida legislative victories and financial strains leading to staff reshuffles. As DeSantis returns his focus to Florida, the implications of his presidential campaign withdrawal for the GOP and his own political trajectory are yet to unfold. Last week, Trump referenced DeSantis by saying, "What happened to this guy? One of the great self-destructions I think I've ever witnessed." In Seabrook, New Hampshire, Nikki Haley took a moment to tip her hat to Ron DeSantis, saying, "I want to say to Ron, he ran a great race. He's been a good governor, and we wish him well." It's like giving a polite nod to the player who just got knocked out of the game. She then set the stage for the showdown, noting, "It's now one fella and one lady left. So there were 14 people in this race. There were a lot of fellas. All of the fellas are out except for this one." It's a bit like the final round of a reality show where we're watching the final tribal council. Haley then threw down the gauntlet. This comes down to, what do you want? Do you want more of the same, or do you want something new? We've got 2 days until New Hampshire goes to the polls, but we're going to make sure we fight all the way until the last second. It's like she's rallying the troops for one last charge, or maybe just trying to pump up voters for a photo finish. Haley has also made it clear she has no interest in being Trump's VP. Haley said, "I've said from the very beginning, I don't play for second. I don't want to be anybody's vice president. That is off the table. I do not want to be vice president, period." I don't know how many more times I can say that. Someone who might be interested in the job is Tim Scott. The GOP senator from South Carolina and former presidential hopeful just handed Donald Trump his endorsement in New Hampshire. It's kind of like choosing your favorite uncle over your cousin who once helped you get a job. A bit awkward for Nikki Haley, who put Scott in the Senate back in 2012. Scott was all about the Trump train, declaring, "We need a president who will close our southern border today. We need Donald Trump." He didn't stop there, adding, "We need a president who will unite our country. We need Donald Trump." And, "We need a president who will protect your Social Security and my mama's Social Security. We need Donald Trump." Trump, playing up the drama like a season finale reveal, shared that Scott whispered his endorsement in his ear 2 days prior. They held onto it like a secret family recipe, unveiling it with a flourish right before the New Hampshire primary, because in politics, timing is everything, and fanfare is the cherry on top. The early voting states of New Hampshire and Iowa have turned into a bit of a VIP lounge for potential vice presidential contenders, with a lineup that reads like the guest list of a political who's who. We've got Repaneli Stefanik from New York, Ohio's Senator J.D. Vance, Arizona's star U.S. Senate candidate Carrie Lake, and Arkansas's own Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Even South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem and former Housing and Urban Development Secretary Ben Carson have been hitting the campaign trail, probably not just for the scenic views. Over the last week, former presidential hopefuls North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum and biotech entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy also only threw their hats into the Trump ring and also joined him on stage. More in a minute. Nikki Haley's Sunday speech at a Derry middle school turned into more of an obstacle course than a political event. Her question, "Do we really want to have two presidential candidates in their 80s?" was met with a reminder from an audience member about the senior citizens present. Haley, quick on her feet, assured she wasn't being disrespectful while discussing the cognitive challenges for folks Trump and Biden's age, 77 and 81. But wait, there's more. A climate protester jumped in, demanding action for the younger generation, followed by another vocal attendee who had a mixed bag of grievances, from retirement age changes to Nazis. The latter two got a complimentary escort out. Haley, keeping her cool like someone who's seen a few things, connected the dots back to her husband's military service, emphasizing the right to free speech. Wrapping up, she urged voters to tune out the media, tune out the noise, like someone trying to ignore their noisy neighbors. Her parting shot, "Let's be the solution for the rest of the country because we can do this." Steve Garvey, ex-Dodger, and hopeful for the California Senate seat, is playing a careful game with the Trump question. He's not exactly cozying up to Trump, but also not running for the hills. Garvey, who's swung his support to Trump in the past two elections, says he's a fan of some Trump policies, but isn't throwing a parade for his communication style. Garvey's strategy? Appealing to every Republican voter, wooing some moderate Democrats, and hitting a home run with independents. He's not eagerly waiting for a Trump endorsement and quipped, "I'm more concerned about the single most difficult race in America right now for a conservative moderate like myself. I don't have time to worry about him." Political analyst Stutzman thinks Garvey's Trump agnostic stance might just get him through the primaries, but he needs to up his policy game and splash some cash on ads to really make a dent. When nudged about the presidential primary, Garvey smoothly sidestepped, saying he's playing for Team Garvey. "I'm going to vote for Steve Garvey. The former president is not on my ballot. Joe Biden is not on my ballot." Garvey's about to face off against Democrats Porter, Lee, and Schiff in the first California Senate debate. Let's see if he can hit it out of the park, or if it's going to be a swing and a miss. As Ron DeSantis exits stage left and New Hampshire prepares for its moment in the spotlight, we're reminded that in the game of politics, the only predictable element is unpredictability itself. Healthy, and your podcast playing. This is Journey Joe Mitchell, turning the mic off but keeping the conversation going. Catch you on the next wave of the political tide.